Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, TRC Global Filipino Webinar members. Kung nasa man po kayo ngayon, this is Bern Gutierrez again, your host for the TRC Global Filipino Webinar. On behalf of Brother Bo Sanchez and True the Rich Club Core Team, ngayong gabi po, ngayong araw ito makakasama natin isang special guest na. So before we continue, gusto ko lang pong malaman kung nadidinig po ninyo kami. You can click the raise hand na icon. Ayan, so malinaw naman po sana, no? Okay, so bago po natin simulan yung ating webinar, again, yung ating pong laging habit na ginagawa before the webinar, nag-uumpisa po tayo sa isang maikling prayer. So, ready po natin yung ating review na to God's love. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Amen. Today, I open myself to the unbounded, limitless, overflowing abundance of God's universe. Today, I open myself to God's blessings, healing, and miracles. Today, I open myself to God's word so that I become more like Jesus every day. Today, I proclaim that I'm God's beloved, God's servant, God's powerful champion. And because I'm blessed, I'm blessing the world in Jesus' name. Amen. Ayun po. So, kumusta po ang inyong bagong taon? Sana po naging masaya po kayo together with your loved ones. Kung kayo naman po yung nasa abroad, siguro po nakapag-celebrate din kayo kahit paano, kahit malayo sa ating mga mahal sa buhay. Kaya lagi po natin inaalala sila at pinagdasal po ang kanilang mga kalagayan. So, ngayon po, napaka-importante ng ating topic na pag-uusapan dahil lalo-lalo na po tayo ng mga nasa ibang bansa, kailangan talaga na tayo po ay protektado. Kung ano man po mangyari sa ating kalusugan, kung ano man po mangyari sa ating buhay, ay hindi po magiging mahirap ang buhay ng ating maiwan ng mga mahal sa buhay. Tapos yun din po ay didiscuss po mamaya ang ating special guest, ano po yung mga dapat natin gawin, no? Habang tayo nasa abroad at kung paano po tayo mapoprotektahan. So ang ating pong guest speaker, isa rin po siyang OFW actually. But he is also a personal finance advocate, a speaker, a writer, and a licensed independent wealth planner. And based po siya sa Singapore. And his passion is to help Filipinos and OFWs worldwide achieve financial freedom using a values-based model of financial planning that focuses on each individual's unique needs and priorities. Tapos ang part po na kanyang advocacy, naging resource person po siya sa mga personal finance TV shows, sa mga magazines, pati po sa mga embassies and other organizations na nag-reach out to educate OFWs on how to achieve greater financial literacy. And at the same time, nagko-contribute din siya ng articles sa mga websites. And of course, meron din siyang personal finance blog. No? Ang ating guest, walang iba, si Mr. Jess Wood. How are you, Brother Jess?
Mabuti naman. Thank you, Bern, for inviting me to this webinar. I think this is one of the few times that I've been on a webinar. No? So, salamat.
Yeah, we're honored actually, Brother Jess, na nandito ka ngayon at alam namin na madami kami matututunan from you, especially na ikaw ay isang wealth planner. Alam naman natin na tayo mga Pilipino nasa abroad, kaya tayo lumalayo sa ating pamilya para ma-achieve natin yung ating financial security, financial security at ma-provide natin yung pangangailangan pinansyal ng ating mga mahal sa buhay. Pero, di ba, Jess, mayroong mga kailangan din tayong i-consider, no, bukod sa pagpapalago ng ating pera, di ba?
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Bern, I didn't hear you the last.
Yeah. So I was telling them na bukod sa pagpapalago ng pera abroad, merong mga dapat din tayong intindihin, no? Katulad ng ating i-discuss today.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Today we're gonna talk about insurance planning actually, no, especially for the OFWs, mga kababayan natin sa ibang bansa.
Oo.
And that's something that a lot of Filipinos actually disregard or nakakalimutan nila kasi sobrang excited sila sa kanilang investment. No?
Oo nga.
It's something very, very important. Yep.
Yeah, especially yung mga members ng True the Rich Club talagang nakafocus sa investment sa stocks, mutual funds, and yung iba pang negosyo, no? So I think malaki ang may tutulong mo for today just no para ma-remind kami kung ano pa yung ibang dapat natin consider, especially kung isang instrument na kailangan natin mga Pilipino na nasa abroad. So ano bang una namin dapat
Yes.
malaman, Jess?
For insurance, you mean? Yeah. So basically, when we're doing financial planning, it's important to have a very holistic point of view, no? So parang jigsaw puzzle lang ang tawag dyan, no?
Mm-mm.
A lot of people focus on certain portions of the puzzle,
Oo.
uh, mostly yung investment side, but to have a more complete, holistic view of your personal finance, you also need to take a look at different asset classes, no? Kasama na din mga property, insurance,
Mm-mm.
and that's one of the things that I feel na nakakalimutan talaga ng mga OFWs natin. Yung insurance kasi is one of those things na kailangan natin, no? Pero hindi natin masyado pinapansin until na kailangan na, kumbaga, no?
Oo, actually
And
yun,
especially at this time.
totoo yan, Jess. No? Actually, marami sa mga comments na na-receive ko sa mga OFWs, dagdag gastos lang daw ang insurance. No? So, ano bang ma-advise mo sa mga nagsasabi ng gano'n?
Actually, I can relate to that, no? Kasi before I went overseas, I also had the same mindset.
Hmm.
I to be honest, I was thinking of insurance like it's a waste of money, no? Kasi yung personal opinion ko doon dati, before I learned a little bit more about it, was that I hate paying for insurance premiums. Kumbaga, kahit natatapon yung pera.
Oh,
Parang yun
yan
yung
yung
naiisip
naisip
ko.
ko yun.
Oo. Pero as we progress in life, no, as we have more responsibilities, we have families, friends, we build more assets, we have children, yung ganun. You start thinking about ano yung mangyayari kung something happens to you, no? Like for example, medical needs, no, like illnesses or sudden death.
Mm-mm.
And in fact, times like now where the market is not doing very well, maybe your investment portfolio is not doing very well. Um, ang mga tanong dyan is, ano mangyayari if anything happens to you at this time? Di ba? Kasi
Oo.
kung talo ka na, lalo ka pa matatalo.
Oo. Umiiyak na nga
So,
sila
I
sa
feel
investments nila dahil namumula daw.
that's
Ayun.
uh, pero that's normal, no? Investments always go up and down, but I think the most important thing, you should take care of your own family, no? Whether investments go up or down, dapat secured yung pamilya mo.
Correct, correct.
Okay?
Ayun. So, pero ano bang ano? Kasi madami hindi nakakaintindi just about insurance. Ano ba talaga yung ibig sabihin ng insurance?
Insurance basically is what is a form of risk transfer, no? So, para siyang isang kontrata wherein you buy from an insurer or a company to protect you from specific risks in life, no? So, for example, let's say kung magkasakit ka, hindi galing sa bulsa mo yung gagamiting pambayad sa hospital o sa mga doktor. Same thing when you pass away. I'm sure may mga responsibilities ka pa sa mga anak mo, sa asawa mo, or sa pamilya mo. And yung money from the insurance will help in, making sure that your family is taken care of. The education of your children will continue to be there. Kung ano yung plano mo para sa kanila, as well as the living expenses, especially for single income households, no? Kasi marami ding mga pamilya na let's say one parent lang yung nagtatrabaho.
Oo.
So, yung mga ganun, medyo mahirap yun. Kasi if you've been a housewife for a long time, uh, if say the main breadwinner is not around anymore, uh, it's not as easy to get back to the workforce in a sense. Yeah.
Ayun. So, yung
So, yeah.
iba't ibang klase din ng ano, di ba? Ang insurance. By the way, we can also talk about other insurance bukod sa life insurance kasi I think yung karamihan ng attendees natin ngayon are expecting to hear about life insurance. Pero can you give more overview about insurance? Ano ba yung iba pang klase ng mga insurance na dapat na malaman ng mga kababayan natin?
Okay. In terms of insurance, I categorize them into five types. No? I'm sure there's a lot more, but ito yung mga major types, no? Shall I show a picture? Can you see my, ano na ba? My screen? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your slides now.
Okay. So
Katawa.
I'll just jump directly to one of the, ano, one of the uh, five, basically tawag ko dito, five essentials of coverage,
Mm.
areas of coverage. So obviously a lot of people talk about life cover. So that's one of the major types of insurance. Meron pa tayong tinatawag na critical illness. No? Critical illness is yung mga major illnesses like cancer, heart attack, stroke, those type of things. Another one that is also insurance is called the hospital and surgical. No, a lot of people call this medical insurance.
Mm.
No, but different people call different things. But in a way, it's hospital
Oh,
insurance. No, if you go to the hospital, you get covered. No? Personal accident would be more for face-to-face basis yan, especially if your work entails you to go out of the office a lot or you travel a lot or would be something that you might want to consider. And the last is disability income. No? Disability income, basically, that's a type of insurance where it insures your salary. Itong type na to, hindi masyado dinidiscuss na maraming mga advisors. I think primarily because not a lot of insurance companies are offering it. But in a way, it's a very good combination to people who earn in good money.
mm.
Kasi, for example, let's just give a quick example. You have a critical illness like a stroke, right?
Mm.
You can get if you have insurance for that, you can get coverage for that. Pero if you're stroke, that means your mobility or your speech may be hampered, no? And if you use that in your work, you may not be as what you call this as effective as you were before. So the question is, will the company that you're working for continue to employ you? No? So the disability income is a way to kind of help you get through that parang uh, time because even if you're not being paid by your company, yung insurance company ang nagbabayad ng salary mo. No? So that's basically it. But that's the five areas which I feel are important. But for me, maybe the first three would be the most important: life, critical illness, and hospital and surgical.
Oo. Just alam mo, totoo yung pinaliwanag mo na yan, no? Especially sa ating mga kabayan, no? Madami akong mga naka-encounter, mga nakasalamuhan na kababayan natin abroad na ang dami nagkaka-stroke, nagkaka-diabetes, tapos patuloy pa rin sila nagtatrabaho, no? Pero wala silang ganitong coverage, no? I think importante na malaman ito ng ng mga kababayan natin, especially our attendees ngayon sa TRC Global. At of course, yung personal accident din, although yun nga, hospital and surgical is very important. Uh, Tingin ko, no, kailangan din yung personal accident, especially yung mga OFWs na nasa, skills-based yung kanilang trabaho na laging bumabiyahe or gumagawa ng mga delikadong mga trabaho.
That's right.
Mhm. Ayun. So, this experience mo, Jess, no, bakit madaming Filipinos abroad ang hindi kumukuha ng insurance or hindi insured?
Uh, Based on people that I've met, yung mga Filipinos overseas, na especially in Singapore, most of it is because they have a wrong impression about what insurance is all about. No, that's one. Either that one or nobody really told them why is it that important. No? So I think it's something that we should also emphasize. Uh, and I think a lot of confusion din is because a lot of people, pag nakakamit sila ng advisor in insurance, they're usually offered some kind of investment, no? So, investment
Oo.
link policies or VUL.
Oo.
So, medyo nami-mix up nila minsan.
Oo.
They think of insurance as investment. No? So, ganun.
Ayun nga kasi ano ba yung pwede nilang whenever they meet financial advisors, no? Kasi yung iba ang inaalok agad ito investment ito. Investment. So yung mga kababayan natin, no, they jump in immediately, no, without proper siguro needs, katulad na sabi mo kanina, needs analysis, no, nung kanilang ano ba talaga yung dapat coverage nila. Yung ibang alam nila talagang investment lang yun, gusto nilang mapalaki yung pera nila. Tapos later on, ma-discover nila na yun nga, insurance siya with investment
Mm.
features. No?
Yeah.
Paano ba dapat nila yan i-handle yung ganitong kasi for sure, ang dami mga kababayan natin na alok ng mga advisors to get insurance whenever they are on vacation or kung meron mang caravan yung mga insurance companies abroad.
Mm. Well, I think we need to have the proper mindset, no, why we're getting an insurance. The primary reason why you're getting life insurance is for the lives you might leave behind, no?
Correct.
So if anything happens to you, sana there's something allocated for your family, no? So it's basically to cover for risks. So you get insurance from insurance companies. Now, for investments, obviously you can also get from insurance companies, but you have a lot more options. So it's up to you to decide if you want those options or not, no? But at the end of the day, it's important to make sure na lahat ng pinagpaguran mo, sana umabot sa pamilya mo.
Tama.
Kasi if you get sick, you have investments nga, and then you are forced to liquidate to pay for your medical bills, edi wala rin pupuntahan, di ba?
Kaya,
Your original objective of helping the family may not be fulfilled anymore.
ay,
No?
oo, napaka-importante niyang ano na yan, yung sinabi niya ni Brother Jess, no? By the way, Jess, meron ka ba bang gustong i-share sa amin based on this flow of conversation that we are having now?
Um, siguro,
Yes, Jess? Hello? Hello, Jess? Thank you.
hello?
Yan. Hello?
Hello?
Ayan.
Yes. Okay. I was saying that probably what I can do para medyo structured yung sharing natin, I can go through a few slides
Sige,
and
oo.
then at the end, we can have a discussion, no?
Yeah.
Q&A maybe from our audience or from you. What do you think?
Sige, let's go with this.
Okay, sige. So basically, I'm starting with this slide now. Thank you, Bern, for inviting me for this webinar. No? So the topic for today is why should overseas Filipinos be insured? Basics of insurance planning. Okay. I have a disclaimer there. Quick background. I've been doing some talks in a lot of different countries, from Singapore, Japan, Philippines, UAE, Qatar, and Brunei. I think if I've been in the Middle East, visiting the last 2 to 3 years. So if you've been there, hello. Hopefully, nandyan din kayo. And I've also what you call this, been on TV and radio and some of the big conferences and taught some of the RFP guys last year. No? Okay. So maybe I start off with a few stories. If you can see this slide that I have, do you know this guy? This is basically, kilala mo ba to, Bern? uh, this guy is Leonidas, no, from the film 300, no.
300.
If you can see that, I remember yung movie, no.
Yeah.
So in,
Teka, tingnan natin.
in this picture, you can see.
Yeah.
What was that?
I think yung slide,
Yeah.
yata
So
can you see the slides yung mga attendees natin? Can you raise your hand? Ayun, nakikita nila. Sige.
nakikita nila. Okay, good. Okay, sige. So I just give a few stories now. Basically, in the olden days, when you go to war, you usually bring your sword and your shield. No, in this case, it's a spear and a shield. No, it's something that's very important to kind of like think about. No, yung sword, basically, we need a sword and a shield when you go to war. No, the sword is like an investment. No, we conquer and grow our wealth with it, and the shield is like our insurance. We protect ourselves with it. No, what happens when we only have a sword? Diba? We can conquer and grow our wealth. No, but if an arrow were to pierce our chest like a heart attack, we will be giving our savings and investments to the doctors in the hospital. Tama?
Correct,
What
correct.
if we only have a shield? We would be very defensive and can't really conquer much. No, we can, uh, for example, we cannot really grow our wealth to fund our retirement. No, kasi puro depensa lang lahat. No, so that's something like just using your savings. No, maybe it's not enough. No, so that's why it's very important for us in the battle of life to have both a shield and a sword. No, the shield would be our insurance, and the sword would be an investment. So it's a bit of a balance. No, um, so parang ganito. No, there's a sword and a shield. Okay. The next thing I want to share is also another story. Uh, it's like an assuming you build you have a mango tree back in the Philippines, no? And it produced really big mangoes, no? You sell the mangoes to the market and use the money to pay for your mortgage, mga installment mo para sa bahay, and for your family's expenses. Kung ikaw yung farmer, what is more important for you? Yung mango o yung puno? No? I guess everybody in this webinar, um, wait lang ah. I think hindi daw nakikita yung slide. How about this one? Can you see the slide now?
Ayan, paki-click mo bro yung mismo. Ayan, yan, yan. Ayan, okay.
Okay. Maybe I won't full screen it na lang kasi full screen ko kanina eh. So, okay. Uh, as you probably all know, what is actually the mango, the tree, no? Yung mango tree, not sure yung mango. Bakit? Kasi yung mango tree, it produces more mangoes, no? So, ladies and gentlemen, you are the tree. Kayo yung puno, no? Kung wala kayo, wala ring mga bunga, no? There won't be sustenance for your family kasi kayo yung breadwinner eh. So don't you agree that you should be adequately protected? No?
Tama
That's
ka.
very important. No? Okay, the last story and show before I go move forward is a story about uh, love story, kumbaga. No? Uh, how many of you have family here in our webinar? I'm sure a lot of us will say yes. So, whether you have your own children or you have siblings or you have parents, and I'm sure all of us love our families. No, we show it in different practical ways, such as giving our children enrichment classes or music lessons or bibilin natin sila ng bahay or many more other things. Naintindihan naman siguro natin lahat, no, that love isn't love if you're not able to give it away. Diba? So,
Correct.
ani ng pera kung wala ka namang love life? Ano?
Paggasgas yun.
No? Okay, anyway, I'm sure you want them to continue to enjoy these things, no? Like yung whatever you're giving them. Uh, I'm sure you still want to enjoy, continue giving them those things when you're not around, no? To continue to provide for them, no? So, if you want to be sure, then make sure you also have a life insurance policy. No? Gives you the right amount of coverage. Very important yung right amount of coverage. And to continue for you to continue to give them the things that you want them to have, even if you're not around anymore. No? Um, on a personal note, I'm gonna show you something that happened to me in 2014, no, August 2014. I went to I was about to go to the Middle East to Qatar to give a talk there, and right before I left, my daughter actually got some measles, no? And we just came back from the Philippines at the time, and she was hospitalized for around a week, and as a parent, it really feels very bad, no? At that time, my daughter was still very young, less than 2 years old, and hindi pa siya, she's not able to communicate well kung ano yung sakit, no? Masakit ba yung likod niya, makati ba, or she's not feeling, no? She's feeling, no? So I'm sure for those parents here, if your kids are sick, you'll know what I'm talking about. No? It's very heartbreaking to see your kids to suffer. No? But on top of that suffering, actually, heartbreaking din yung sa bulsa natin. um, in this scenario, just one day, I'm living in Singapore, so in one day of a hospitalization, the average cost was around $800 now. So that's around in Singapore dollars, that's around 20 plus thousand, no? So that's quite a big chunk, no? And after that, uh, and actually when I was in the hospital, because that was almost a week, I heard this what do you call this PA, no? Public announcement na code blue. Okay, so for the mga nurses na nandito, I'm sure you know what that means. um, sorry. But for those who are not, code blue actually usually means na somebody has a heart attack or uh, problems with the heart. So I happened to be in the children's hospital at that time. So I was just reflecting na I'm already having a hard time, but what more for those people who are in the ICU or having some or mothers who are delivering and having some cardiac arrest, no? Or maybe even the children who have cardiac problems, no? So uh, I'm thankful that it's not as worse for me, but then again, everybody should be prepared, no? After that week, my daughter, right before I left for Qatar, my daughter was okay. But pagbalik ko, yung other anak ko naman, ang nagkasakit. Same thing, nahawaan. Okay.
Yeah.
So, we went through the same story. So, after this experience, basically, this is my son. He also got measles, no, after my daughter got a measles. So, it's really just a testimony of how important it is to have your own insurance, kasi it can really have a big effect on your finances, no? So what I'll do is I'll share with you how I do my insurance planning. So the uh, first things first is I have a what we call a three-step process-driven approach. No, first step is to define your needs. No, this is where we do a financial needs analysis. So we'll calculate how much you need, anong kailangan mo, what's your objective, etc. The second step is to define the needs, the type of insurance to use. No, new methodology. And the third step is for you to find a cost-effective solution. So that's the time that you do your research and analysis. No, I want to I just want to make a quick comment about this. Kasi ang nangyayari kasi sa karamihan ng mga Pilipino is that they're offered insurance policies and they start comparing insurance policies without understanding ano ba yung kailangan nila. And what happens is that after so many offers binibigay sa kanila, nalilito na sila. Kasi in the first place, hindi nila alam kung ano ang kailangan nila. So actually, baliktad yung process, no? The first thing you need to do is actually to understand first, ano ba yung kailangan mo? Are you protecting your family from risk in case you're not around? Are you protecting yourself from critical illness in case you get sick? No? Parang ganun. Okay? So, let's go to the next slide. I won't take very long. So I think this was the 5 areas of coverage that I was talking about earlier, and we'll just share with the group later yung, a link to what I wrote about how to calculate your needs. No, that's very important. Kasi karamihan ng mga ino-offers ng mga life insurance, for example, it's very typical that advisors will give or agents will give million pesos coverage or million pesos coverage. Although okay naman yun, the actual need for people is actually much higher than that, no? So if you want to know more about that, I think Bern will just send you a link on how to what you call this, which contains a section that says how you can calculate your needs. No? So, for example, life insurance. Let's just do a uh, quick example. No? If you're getting a life insurance, especially if you're a breadwinner, what you need to actually do is you need to calculate magkano ba yung monthly expenses mo. Hmm? And then if you have dependents, you calculate how long are you going to support your dependents. Now, let's do a quick example. If, say, in Manila, you're paying 50,000 pesos for your expenses every month. Okay? In 1 year, that would be 50,000 times 12, that's 600,000. So, if you have a newborn child, you're going to support the newborn for the next 20 years. So you multiply the 600,000 by 20. So that's already around 12 million. Okay? Medyo malaki yung number, no? And on top of that, you probably also need to add uh, provisions for education expenses, future education expenses, living expenses of your family, medical expenses, debt cancellation, estate taxes, legacy, etc. No? Marami yan. So, just to make it very simple, I've done some average calculation for a lot of OFWs. Usually, yung need ng most of the OFWs, or especially the breadwinners, would be somewhere between 10 to 20 million pesos. No? And that's not a small number. And so, if you know what you need, then you'll have an idea what kind of insurance policies are you going to look for, and how much can you pay for them. No? The second thing that I wanna share is how to calculate your critical illness need. No, critical illness need. For me, it's very simple. You just multiply your annual income by three to five times, no, and then you add maybe around 4 to 5 million. That would be good enough for you to cover what you call this mga critical illness expenses, no. And lastly, yung hospitalization, very important. Okay? So I'm going to the next slide just to show a little bit more about the methodology. Okay, so okay. So for the methodology, as you can see here, para siyang may bell curve, no? What I believe is that everybody needs coverage for hospital and surgical, as well as critical illness cover. Kasi as we age, there's a high chance that we will go to the hospital to get treated for illnesses, and yung chances of critical illness as we age is also higher. No? So that's what I call a foundational coverage. Now, if you see this, slope bell curve, no? As you can see, itong chart na to, the age, yung horizontal line is the age, no? Let's say it's from 0 to 99, and then yung vertical line is the sum assured, no? Or yung need for insurance, no? So, as you can see, umaakyat yung need for insurance as we age. Okay? It usually peaks at around 40 to 45 years old when the kids are in college, for example, especially if you got married around 30 years old maybe, or 25 to 30 years old. So depending on when you have you're bringing up a family, the life stage may be slightly different, but it's around there. You know? And then as we as we progress in life, lumiliit din yung need natin for insurance because nababayaran na natin yung mga utang, or if we bought a house on a mortgage, it's probably fully paid. Napaaral na yung mga anak, so they don't really need support anymore, and probably giging self-sustainable na yung mga anak. No? So let's just say you got married at 30, you had a child right away, then in 25 years, so 30 plus 25, you're 55 years old, your child would have been around 25 na. No? So let's assume na may trabaho na siya. Technically, you don't really need to what do you call this, to support them financially. They will be able to support themselves. Okay? Now, the last step is really to what we say, get a cost-effective solution. No? So you do your own research and cost analysis. Ano ba yung kailangan mo? What kind of companies can offer you the things that you need, etc. Okay? I'm sure if you're gonna look for life coverage, a lot of companies will be offering that, but you also need to take a look on which one is more cost efficient for you, and also the type of insurance policy. No, kasi insurance policies can be different types. It can be a combination of investment insurance, which is what we call a VUL or an investment linked policy. It could be a term policy, which is a pure insurance, etc. Okay. Now, um, I will share some case studies with you, but I'm going to use term insurance for the example. Why I'm using term insurance? Because it's the cheapest type of insurance available in the world. And because of that, it's easier for most people to afford them. So let's do a quick example. I'm using Singapore dollar in this example, but basically you just multiply that by 30 if you want to get the 30 to 35 if you want to get the Philippine peso equivalent. No? So case study one, if you have a family and you have a tight budget, but you need a lot of coverage for dependents, your potential solution would be a cheapest type of insurance, obviously. Bakit? Kasi tight yung budget, no? There's not a lot of money left for insurance kasi you're still spending money for food, for shelter, etc. No? So you can look into 5 to 10-year term policies with guaranteed renewability. No? That would be a good type of insurance for you guys. And kasi remember earlier we were talking about your need for insurance. No? If you need 10 to 20 million, for example, it's already very expensive for you to get a traditional insurance. So, but the term insurance would still be affordable. No? So an example here of this is a global insurance. No? Monthly premium cost for a non-smoker, male. No? If you get a 10-year level term, when we say level term, it means that the price does not increase every year. No, it's the same price for the next 10 years. No, so if you look at that, if you look at the table, if you get if you're 30 years old and you get a $1 million policy, for example, that's 30 million pesos, not 35 million pesos. What you're paying is only around $41 a month. No? So $41 a month is approximately around 1,200 pesos a month. So that's very, very cheap. No? And that's actually possible with the term insurance. If you go for a traditional insurance, that's going to be really expensive. No? If you're 40 years old, even if you look at 500,000 cover, or let's say 15 million pesos, if that's only going to cost you around $47 Sing. So that's approximately around 1,500 pesos, no, a month. So even in Philippine salary, kayang-kaya, no? And so on and so forth. So if you have a tight budget, this is something that you can look at. No? Now the next case study I want to share is for those people who have a specific time frame for a specific purpose. So what does that mean? Meaning, alam mo na kung para saan yung insurance mo. Meaning, for example, let's say you want to set it aside as a provision for education for your children. Say you're saving for college education, pero your child is 1 year old and he's going to college in 18 years, for example. So you have a term insurance for 18 years. No? In case anything happens to you, there will be money that will be set aside for your child's education. No? So for example, say it's a 3 million pesos yung kailangan mo i-save. Anything happens to you, may 3 million agad. Pero kung nothing happens to you, you're supposed to be saving that money. So what you're doing with this particular example is just to what do you call this? Buy time, no? So in this example, if you look at the table again, the monthly premium cost for a male non-smoker for a 20-year term, let's say 30-year-old, yung 500,000 Sing, that's around 15 million pesos. That's $31, no, 31, $32. So that's around 1,000 pesos a month. So still very, very cheap. No? I'm making these examples because this is the cheapest type na makikita nyo. Okay? The third thing that you want to look into is for those people who are looking into the next generation na, no? So if you want to set aside money for estate taxes, no, estate and legacy purpose for the next generation, then you can look into a lot of different options. Now, your potential solution would be a term insurance that extends until 99 years old, a whole life policy, VUL, universal life policies, and so on and so forth. No? So again, for this example, if you look at the table, same profile, a male non-smoker, level term, death cover. For 30 years old, if he wants to extend it until age 99, that means yung coverage niya is around 69 years. No? So let's just say, uh, let's so yung 1 million cover dito is around 30 million pesos. So ang monthly nito is around $298 or around 10,000 pesos. No? So that's quite high, but that's already if you're looking at the next generation. Okay? Remember, this amount does not change over time kasi nakalock in yung price. Okay? So over time, actually, this is considered very, very cheap. Now, let's take a look from a mathematical point of view. Assuming, let's go to the next slide. It's return of capital. No? If you're 30 years old and you have a 69-year plan, right? Let's use the $1 million example. Let's say 30 million yung ano mo, yung coverage mo. So if you're paying 10,000 pesos a month, no? So that's $298 times 12 months times 69 years. Over the 69-year period, you only paid out around almost 250,000 single. Remember that your death benefit is $1 million, which means that even with the term insurance, nabalik yung pera mo, kumita ka pa. Kasi ang difference ng 1 million sa around 250,000 is around 750,000. So growth of your money is already around 400%. No? That's the worst case scenario. Of course, yung caveat lang dan is that if you live past 99 years old, kung 100 years old ka, if that happens, pasalamat ka na lang sa Panginoon. No. The next thing I want to just share quickly is local Philippine insurance rates versus global insurance rates for Filipinos. In general, if you get a global coverage, actually, it's around 3 to 5 times cheaper than Philippine insurance rates. No? If you are based in Singapore or Dubai, no? If you're based in other countries, it's still cheap, but it's so close to that numbers, no? Now, if you are not Philippine citizen, you live in the Philippines, and then you come to Singapore or Hong Kong or one of these what do you call this financial centers, you can still get a very cheap insurance, no? So, but it's 50% more expensive than those who are living in Singapore and Dubai. Pero even if it's that expensive, because it's already 3 to 5 times cheaper than Philippine rates, mura-mura na talaga. No? So, in context, if you use Philippine numbers, no, assuming you're paying 100,000 pesos a year, probably if you get insurance from overseas, you're paying around 20,000. No, sorry, 3 to 5 times. Yeah, around 20,000, 20 plus thousand. No? Okay. Okay, so here's another example for a 25-year-old for 10 million pesos covered. Basically, mga around 1,000 pesos a month. Okay. So yeah, I think this is just this is what all I have to share for today. And then let's open it up for Q&A.
Yun, ang galing. Ang dami namin tutunan, Jess, no, sa maikling session natin. No? So, we're gonna accept questions now from our attendees kung meron kayong gustong i-clarify regarding to sa topic natin, no? Especially yung term insurance. Pwede kayong mag-type in sa ating questions section. Or you can also chat with us sa bandang baba ng control panel. So, while we're waiting for their questions, just now, meron lang, actually, prior to this webinar, meron lang nagpasa ng question at hindi siya makaka-attend. So, he's asking kung saan ba daw mas okay kumuha ng term insurance, kung doon sa bansa na nagtatrabaho siya or sa Pilipinas.
Okay. It really depends on how easy it is um, to claim.
Mhm.
Um, in general, if it's a financial center, it's not an issue because usually financial centers are ano tawag yan? Um, Usually mura yung insurance nila.
Oo.
So I would actually recommend that they would get it from where they are. But obviously they can compare it with the Philippines. Now, my usual recommendation for OFWs is to get it from Singapore, Hong Kong. Bakit? Because uh, yung at the end of the day, if you're getting a life insurance,
Mhm.
you probably will have to claim no in the future.
Yeah.
Probably if not you, maybe your family. No, you want to have an insurance from a place na hindi ganun kalayo sa Pilipinas. But on top of that, it has to be cheaper than Philippine rates. Kasi kung hindi, it defeats the purpose. You just get it from the Philippines, no? But if the cost difference is so big, then you can explore other countries. Now, if you're living in another country, what I would say is get a term insurance in that country first. Kung saan ka man, no? Just the shortest that you can find. Maybe it's a 1 year or
1 year,
2 years
oo.
or whatever, no?
Siguro yung
And then,
length ng contract nila, no? Pwede nyo lang, ano nila, kunin nilang term insurance.
yes, pwede, yes. And then, when they have a chance to do some planning,
Hmm.
they pass through Singapore, Hong Kong, or come back to the Philippines during their annual leave, then they can get additional cover for whatever they really really need. Because at the end of the day, um, as you can see, medyo malaki yung need for insurance, so I don't think most people will be getting all their insurance needs in one shot. Yeah.
Ayun. So, tapos meron pa isang question, Jess, ano, yung kung siya ba daw ay kailangan pang kumuha ng VUL kung meron na naman siyang term life insurance na kinuha sa Pilipinas. Okay lang ba daw yan? Kumuha
Uh,
ng dalawa?
I think that's fine, but it goes back to the objective, no? If the objective is to get coverage, then siguro try to take a look which type of policy will give you the most coverage, no? Because kung ang VUL kasi is a type of investment na rin.
Hmm.
So if that's the case, then you also have to compare that with your other investment
Investments.
vehicles. Could be property, it could be stocks, it could be mutual funds. So depending on which ones would give you a better deal. Uh, Secondly, it really depends on your objective. Kasi sometimes you might want to have some flexibility with your money. Plus, the most important thing is budget. Sometimes kasi we do a lot of planning. Let's say, sinabi natin, oh, kailangan natin ng 20 million pesos or 30 million pesos. Pero hindi naman pala kaya kasi sobrang mahal.
Oo.
Di ba? So, we also have to consider what what is our budget and compared to how much we actually need. For example, if you need 20 million pesos of coverage, tapos policy A charges you like 100,000, policy B charges you 20,000, eh doon ka lang sa 20,000. Kasi at the end of the day, what you need is more the coverage. Diba? Mas important yung coverage than the savings and investment, especially if you're starting out. Now, if you are already on a path na you're fully covered, then that's fine. Then you can have more of the investment side. That's
Oo,
okay.
kung ano, wala na sila paglagyan ng pera nila. Pwede sila
Oh,
kumuha
wala
ng
naman lalagyan.
ayun, oo. So, do we have any more questions coming from our attendees, live attendees? So, ito, question ko lang, no, Jess, no, for those na yung kanilang ibabayad sa premium. No? By the way, yung mga attendees natin, ano ba yung premium? Ito yung binabayaran natin, no? To get covered sa insurance. So, kung halimbawa, they're paying their term insurance overseas on a monthly basis, no? Term insurance. Tapos, suddenly, natanggal sila sa, sa trabaho or natapos yung contract nila. Paano yung continuity ng pagbabayad ng premium doon? O talagang pwedeng i-ano yun? Talagang putulin na lang?
It really depends sa policy na nakuha nila. I can't really comment so much about other countries, but I can comment about what we have in Singapore, no?
Yes, Singapore.
So in Singapore kasi, if you get a policy in Singapore, you can actually pay via credit card. So if you pay via credit card, you can use any credit card as long as it's Visa or Mastercard. So even if you're in the Middle East, you're in another country or you're back in the Philippines, you can just use your credit card. So that makes it easier, no? You can just automatic in payment. There's no lapsation. So your policy doesn't get, lapse. Tapos very cost efficient kasi uh, uh, kahit na maliit yung bayad, hindi ka na-charge ng fixed fee with the banks, no? At saka convenient, no?
Ayun.
So yun, yun yung suggestion ko. Now, if they're gonna cut it off or not, I think they have to reassess if they still need the coverage or not. No. For term policies kasi even if you cut it off right later time, let's say you get a 10-year policy, it doesn't mean that you have to pay for 10 years. Let's say kung on the fifth year you don't need it anymore, you just stop payment, then stop yung policy mo. You're not forced to pay for the whole duration. Pero yung advantage lang of getting a longer term policy is that you're able to lock in your price for a longer term,
Ayun.
for a much longer time.
Mas okay pag
Yeah.
matagal, no? Ayun. So, meron pa tayong mga katanungan. Anyway, uh, hello, yeah. Yung mga ano
Yes,
pala dyan,
yes.
yung pagbabayad, for example, ng premium, for example, isang OFW o isang Pilipino nasa Middle East, tapos kukuha siya sa Hong Kong or Singapore. Paano yung sistema ng pagbabayad nito? Aside from, I mean, pag-apply, do they have to fill it out online? Meron ba sila makakausap na advisor from that country? For example, Hong Kong or Singapore. Tapos, paano yung fill out ng form? Paano yung proseso?
Okay, the process is very simple. Pero the most important requirement is that you need to pass by these countries.
Ayun.
So,
Punta ka
ang
na.
nangyayari is that kailangan silang dumaan. So they have to go through the countries. Kasi kaya importante yung immigration namin to prove that they were there when they signed up for the policy.
Ayun. Oo.
Kasi insurance policies are jurisdictional. So if you buy an insurance policy in the Philippines, you need to be in the Philippines. If you buy an insurance policy in Hong Kong, Singapore, you need to pass through there, meaning natatakan yung passport mo na you were there. No? Now, as to the process and everything, it's good to have somebody na kilala mo na discuss nyo na early. So, ma-plan mo. Pag dumaan ka, signature na lang. Parang ganun, no? Um, so, madali lang naman yun eh. I've seen people from the Middle East who pass through Singapore, sign up for a policy, and then go to the Philippines. And some of them even do that kasi yung iba, when you compare the flight tickets, it's cheaper actually to get an indirect flight compared to a direct flight. So, ang ginagawa nila, nagbabakasyon na lang sila or nagli-over sila ng like, maybe 5
Actually,
hours,
magandang
mga
tip
ganun.
yun, Magandang tip yun dun sa mga iba, Kumuha kayo ng yung punta sa Singapore, tapos isa pang flight papuntang Pilipinas. Na-encounter ko rin mas mura nga
Oh.
yung pinalalabasan. Lalo na yung mga sagot nila yung sarili nilang pamasahe.
Yes, that's true. Actually, I was quite surprised, but it's the reality. Yeah.
Ayun. So, how about yun? Kasi meron mga nagwo-worry, no? Baka meron nag-aalala sa kanila na paano kaya yun? Nasa ibang bansa yung insurance ko, no? Hindi kaya ako takbuhan ng company na to? Ano yung kanilang
Sorry, can you repeat that?
ano yung kanilang assurance, no? Kasi baka meron nag-aalala na nasa Pilipinas na sila by then, tapos yung insurance company nila is nasa Hong Kong or Singapore. Paano sila mapapayapa, no? Ma-assure na hindi sila tatakbuhan ng insurance companies na yan.
Ah, Before you buy insurance policies from these companies, you have to do a little bit of research, no? Most of these companies naman are very, very big. Usually, they're the largest in their one of the largest in their field, no? And usually, it's going to be regulated by the government, no? So before they're allowed to operate, meron yan silang parang money set aside that's being monitored by the government, no, for them to be allowed to operate. Secondly, in Singapore's case, for example, meron tayong tinatawag na Policyholders Protection Fund, or ang ano doon is para siyang bailout fund ng mga insurer. In case an insurer goes down and becomes bankrupt for whatever reason, this kind of policy holders protection fund will come in to cover yung mga supposedly sum assured na babayad sa kanila. So in a way, hindi sila may kumbaga may level of protection. Now, for those people who ang suggestion ko actually for those people who are a bit worried about this, you can actually split your insurance coverage. You can take some in the Philippines and some overseas. The ones that you put in the Philippines, my suggestion, kasi pag nagbilang ka ng iyong financial needs analysis, let's say it's 20 or 30 million yung actual need mo, right? Hindi mo naman kailangan yung 20 or 30 million in one shot. Siguro kailangan mo lang 1 to 2 million kasi yun yung kailangan pambayad ng FD tax if something happens, yung immediate, no? Tapos yung the rest of the money, you probably need it for the next few years, right? So what you can do is you can split your coverage. You get a little bit in the Philippines for convenience purposes kasi yun yung pinakamabilis mo ma-claim, and then you get a little bit more from overseas because it's cheaper, no? And you have time to claim naman, you're not in a hurry to claim, diba?
Kumbaga
So,
parang dinadiversify mo rin yung ano mo, no? Yung insurance mo.
yes. Yes, you have some in the Philippines and you have some overseas. Yep. Ka-diversify.
Yun. Ayun, so thank you so much, Jess. No, I think mukhang wala namang question nun, at kung meron man siguro, they can just email us or send us a message kung mga friends natin yung iba yata sa Facebook. So, kung may katanong man sila, just send them in, tapos itatanong natin kay Jess para sagutin. Ito meron pumasok na isa. This is from
Send.
kay Rosalito, no? So hinihingi niya yung link, no? Rosalito, we will
Yeah.
just email you yung mga umaten, no, ng mga links, as well as yung ginamit natin na slides sa presentation for today, ano. So don't worry. Okay, so thank you so much, bro, just no, for a very enlightening webinar, at I'm pretty sure madami ang kaliwanagan at nasagot yung kanilang mga katanungan with regards to insurance, ano. Meron ka ba ibang bang mga
Thank you.
tips that you can give sa mga umaten?
Live life, pray to God. And I think it's important to take care of your family. So yeah.
Tama, tama. No? Yan, alalahanin. Kaya naman tayo nasa abroad, no, para sa mga mahal natin sa buhay. Ayun. Thank you so much
Yeah.
again, Jess. No, we're so thankful to have you today. At we're looking forward to have you again sana in the future, no? Mga future webinars natin.
Yeah.
And then we
Thank you,
also
Bert,
like,
for having me.
yeah. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. We would also like to thank everyone for continuously supporting your TRC Global Filipino webinar, and we hope you are blessed by our discussions today, and sa wisdom na na-share ni Brother Jess for this particular webinar. Again, so on behalf of our brother Bo Sanchez and the Truly Rich Club team, this is Brian Gutierrez saying goodbye for now, and may you continue to bless others and the world. Um, have a great weekend. Happy New Year nga pala, no? Sa inyo lahat, no? God bless everyone. Thank you again, Brother Jess.
God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.